arms.
Pledge allegiance. Pledge allegiance.
To the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Please.
Order, arms.
You guys can have a seat.
Hold my hand, everything will be okay. I heard from the heavens, the clouds have been gray. Hold me close, wrap me in your aching arms. I see that you're hurting. Why'd you take so long to tell me you need me? I see that you're bleeding. You don't need to show me again. But if you decide to, I'll ride in this way, and I won't let you go till the end. So cry tonight, but don't you let go of my hand. You can cry every last tear, and I won't leave till I understand. Promise me, just hold my hand, raise your head, look in my wishful eyes. That you inside will lift you up
Officer of the James Owen Crime Victim Assistance Center. It's a privilege to be here alongside all of you for tonight's event in recognition of National Crime Victims' Rights Week. Thank you for joining us. Excuse me. In honoring and supporting victims of crime, survivors, and their families. This year's theme, Survivor Voices, Elevate, Engage, Affect Change, calls upon our community to amplify the voices of survivors and create environments where survivors have confidence that they will be heard, believed, and supported. By engaging survivors, we will ensure our responses and services are credible, meaningful, and centered on individual needs. It is important that we not only hear their voices, but that survivors are listened to and are engaged at every level of the criminal justice system. I must acknowledge and thank the brave families that allow us into their lives to advocate and support them through very difficult times. It is a privilege to say that the James Owen Crime Victim Assistance Center elevates the voices and stands beside our survivors on their path to healing. Thank you. I would like to now introduce Chief Haynes.
Thank you so much, Karen. Karen Roach, she's the Assistant Deputy Chief over our program, the James Rowland Crime Victims Assistance Center. And as you can tell, she is passionate about the work that we do with the families of victims of violent crime in Fresno County. For her, it's not just a job to lead these great victim advocates, but as she represents all of those who do that incredible work, it is much more than showing up, putting in 8 hours or longer, but it is a passion. I'm Kirk Haynes, I'm the Chief Probation Officer, and I am honored this afternoon to be able to share in this event with you today. This is the first opportunity for us to be able to do a quilted veiling in person since 2019, which is the last time we were able to have this event. And to look at the outpouring today of support for families in our Fresno County community is just so heartwarming to me, and I'm so thankful for all of you being here, whether you be local law enforcement, staff who are here, community partners that we do this work in as well, representatives from the Cal Victims Compensation Board, whether you're from the California State Assembly or from the California State Senate. We've got so many people who are here who show and want to wrap their arms around all of our families who are here to just to show how much we honor your loved ones, care about you, and to make sure that you know that Fresno County Probation and the Fresno County family, so many of us are here for all of you as well. So, I think about this time earlier this week, we had an opportunity to spend time with the Mothers Against Drunk Driving and honoring the lives of those lost to drunk driving and to substance abuse impaired driving, and many of those who are represented in the quotes that will be unveiling today as well. And so, we don't want these voices to be lost. We don't want these voices to be forgotten. And we know that it's painful, and it's something that I can't say that I know where you're coming from, because I'm not going to stand here and say that. But I do want you to know that as a department, and as a community, and as your chief for Fresno County, we are going to do everything that we can to make sure that your needs are met within whatever the ability for us to be able to do that, but also at the same time to make sure that you always have a shoulder to come to cry on or to hug or whatever it is that you need moving forward. So I just want to say again, once again, thank you so much for being here. Right now I'm going to introduce Kevin Yamos, who is the lead chaplain with the Fresno Police Department. Kevin, thank you.
Thank you all for coming. My name is Kevin Yamos. I'm the senior chaplain for the Fresno Police Department, and we're actually going to unveil the quilt now first, and let you guys take a look at it before I begin. So. Well, first I'd like to thank Karen Roche and the Fresno County Police Department for inviting me to come and speak with you guys today. It is an honor and a privilege for me to be here. I find this time to be a time of reverence and remembrance for the loss of your loved ones, your friends, your family, co-workers, whoever it may be. When I was asked to speak about the dedication of this quilt, it kind of struck me a little bit, a little close to home because of the job that I do. As a police chaplain, I don't often get an opportunity to come and interact with people who have lost a loved one after the fact. Typically, when I come on scene, it is usually in the wake of the violence or the tragic loss during that initial incident. And I get an opportunity to interact with you as you are reeling from this loss. I remember the faces of anguish and suffering of those who are confronted with the reality that their loved one was taken from them too soon. I remember putting an arm around a mother or a child who has unwillingly become a survivor from a loss they did not want. I remember these, and I remember you all in my prayers as I do my job, because that's what my job entails. But being able to be here with you today, being able to look at these quilts and actually realize that I was on the scene of some of these quilts. And I've probably interacted with some of you. I may not know it at this moment, but there may be someone sitting in the audience here today that I helped console as you were grieving. And for those people, I want you to know that you have been prayed over and you have not been forgotten. Survivors often begin their journey of grief in denial of what they face, shattering of their normal. This is exacerbated when violence is the cause of this loss, because we innately understand the injustice of violent crime. According to the scriptures, there is value in every human life because we are formed and fashioned in the image of God. And doing violence upon this image is a desecration of that image and sacrilege against God himself. That is why God commands, "Thou shalt not murder." We also see in scripture that God hears the cries of the afflicted. The psalmist wrote, "For my days have been consumed in smoke, my bones have been scorched like a hearth. My heart has been smitten like grass and is withered away. Indeed, I forget to eat my bread. Because of the loudness of my groanings, my bones cling to my flesh. And, for I have eaten ashes like bread and mingled my drink with weeping." But this psalmist also wrote of God, "He has regarded the prayers of the destitute and has not despised their prayer. And for he looked down from his holy height. From the heaven the Lord gazed upon the earth to hear the groaning of the prisoner, to set free those who are doomed to death, that men may tell of the name of the Lord in Zion, and praise in Jerusalem." The job of the chaplain is to help the survivors move beyond the denial of their loss, of what's in front of them, to begin to accept their new reality. But they do not do this alone. There are resources available to crime victims. As you guys are well aware of, you're here now sitting in the James Rowland Crime Victim Assistance Center. And you're aware of the resources and the people who are here to assist. And we can help move you through the grief and help you begin the process of healing. And this is actually the purpose of this gathering and the quilts that are hanging here tonight. It is to help us to remember the losses suffered, to come alongside those who are grieving, and to speak on behalf of those who are hurting so badly that they cannot speak for themselves. But it is not just grieving that survivors need help working through. There is also a need for justice when a crime has been committed and a life is lost. Each patch on this quilt is being dedicated today represents the life of a person who was a victim. And that life touched other lives who were also victims. There is a ripple effect throughout a household, a neighborhood, and a community. And we see in Scripture that God knows every victim of every crime. He knows every life lost to violence. And we see in the Scriptures when speaking to Cain, "What have you done? The voice of your brother's blood is crying to me from the ground." And one day there will be judgment and justice for every life that is taken. But in the meantime, lives are lost, families are broken, and survivors grieve. In the midst of the chaos of the tragedy, it seems that there is no room for hope. But there is. Hope can only be lost when we put our hope in something that can fail us. If we put our hope in humanity, in an institution, in a justice system, in government, in the laws that our government passes, then our hope can be disappointing. Because these things are not perfect. These things are fallible. But as the Scripture says, blessed is the man who trusts in the Lord, and whose trust is the Lord. For he will be like a tree planted by the water, that extends its roots to the stream, and will not fear when the heat comes, but its leaves will be green, and will not be anxious in the year of drought, nor cease its yield fruit. And also, for in hope we have been saved. But hope that is seen is not hope. For who hopes for what has already been seen? But if we hope for what we do not see, with perseverance we wait eagerly for it. And if we put our hope in God, and in the promises that He's made to us through Jesus Christ, our hope will not fail. In this time now, we contemplate, we remember, we grieve, we comfort. As we contemplate, we see a reality without a friend, a loved one, a coworker. As we remember, our hearts are warm, but also filled with sadness, as what was once will not be again. As we grieve, we tear at the fabric within us in order to create something new. And as we are comforted, we learn a new normal. And we are then able to comfort as we have been comforted. My hope is that every person who is connected to a patch on this quilt is able to contemplate, remember, grieve, and comfort. I pray that the light can be found in the darkness, that justice can be attained for injustices in this life, and that hope can be both discovered and clung to by the survivors here tonight. For us here tonight, life goes on, and it is upon all of us to live lives that are worthy of the people we are remembering tonight. I leave that as a closing thought. May God bless each of you richly. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Lita. I'm a victim advocate here at the Assistance Center. Our next speaker is one of our incredible survivor voices. His name is James Castro. I'm inviting him to speak.
I'm not supposed to be here, but I'm honored to be here. I want to thank you all for joining us tonight in honor of National Crime Victims Week. Tonight's quote ceremony dedication is to the victims of 2019 to 2023. I would especially like to thank the advocates and staff here at the James Golden Crime Victims Assistance Center for their hard work and dedication to serving the families affected by violence. This evening, I'd like to talk to you about something that is seldom discussed, the voices of survivors. But before I do that, let me show you about Marcy Nicholas. On November 30th, 1983, 21-year-old Marcy Nicholas was stalked and murdered by her ex-boyfriend. 1 week after her murder, and on her way home from the funeral, Marcy's mother was in line at the grocery store and confronted by Marcy's murder. The family had no idea he had been released on bail. The incident prompted Marcy's family to join the movement to change how victims are treated in the criminal justice system. In 2008, Marcy's law was passed amending the California State Constitution to enact 17 rights for victims of crime. The voices of survivors. They are the people who lived through the unmanageable pain and trauma. They have seen and experienced things that most of us can't even begin to imagine. Yet we rarely hear their stories. We often overlook their voices, their struggles, and their triumphs. Instead of amplifying their voices, we tend to focus on their victimhood. We need to start listening to the survivors, giving them the platform and the support they need to voice their experience. The voices of survivors are critical for several reasons. Their stories serve as a reminder of the atrocities that can happen to anyone, regardless of their background, status, race, gender. It is a powerful reminder that we need to work harder to create a world where these stories never happened in their first place. Survivors can also inspire us with their resilience, with their strength, and with their ability to move forward despite their scars. Their stories can bring hope for others who are going through similar experiences. However, we need to approach these issues of survivors with sincerity and compassion. It is not easy for survivors to share their experiences, and they should never feel pressure to do so. We need to create safe spaces where survivors can share their stories if they choose to do so. As a society, we need to make an effort to hear, support, and uplift the voices of survivors. We need to listen to and learn from them to ensure that their voices are not silenced or ignored. My name is James Castro, and this is my story. On December 12, 2020, my daughter Savannah Troy was brutally murdered by her boyfriend, who she claimed loved her. She was shot in the neck and with a shotgun and ran over by a passing vehicle on Highway 41. Within a week, her boyfriend was arrested for several other murders and other felonies. For the past 2.5 years, he has just been only a person of interest in Savannah's case. Savannah's murder happened at the beginning of the COVID outbreak. This only added to our heartbreak due to the limited members of friends and family allowed to attend the services. The treatment we received from the funeral directors and graveside services only added to the pain and suffering our family had to experience. Our only hope and blessing during this difficult time came from the James Rowland Crime Victim Assistance Center. We have a long road ahead of us, but I'm confident that my family and I will get through this with the help and guidance of our advocates. Since Savannah's murder, I have brought our community together by organizing and hosting a Stop the Violence prayer march 2 times a year. The violence in our community needs to stop. And I invite you to join us in praying for our community this Saturday, April 29th at 10:30 a.m. We'll be opening our prayer at the Fresno Water Tower and continuing to City Hall, the Fresno Police Department, the courthouse, the Sheriff's Department, and the Men and Women's Jail, and returning to the Water Tower for our closing prayer. This is a humbling experience, especially if you have lost a loved one to violence. Thank you for attending tonight's ceremony, and God bless you. I just want to add one more thing. The Dave Board's Crime Victims Assistance Center, I just want to recognize my advocates, Jessica, Leah, and Annalie. These people have been my backbone through this difficult time, and these people deserve a round of applause.
Each year, we remember victims who have lost their lives to a violent crime. The James Rowland Crime Victim Assistance Center, as a token of remembrance, has a framed picture of each patch along with a piece of fabric used to make the quilt. When your loved one's name is called, we would ask that one member of the family please come forward to receive your gift. Cada año recordamos a las víctimas que han perdido sus vidas por un crimen violento. El Centro de Asistencia para Víctimas de Crimen, James Rowland, como un recuerdo, les daremos una imagen de cada parche junto con un pedazo de tela usada para hacer la colcha. Cuando se llame el nombre de sus seres queridos, les pedimos que un miembro de la familia, por favor, venga a recibir su recuerdo. Victor Becerra. Brandon Cantano. Nikilas Cornwell. Armando de la Cruz. Jose Duran Jr. Richard Flores. Justin Garza. Paulina Ayala Gonzalez. Diana Hernandez. Alan Herrera. Albert Johnson. Jesse Lazalde. Manuel Hernandez Lopez. Sylvia and William McElhaney. Ronshanique Packard. Jose Lopez Palomar. Brittany Taylor. Quincy Twin. Savannah Troy. Michael Valdepeña. Ku Zhang. Jeff Zuluaga Jr.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Ozzy and I'm here with victim advocates. I would like to call forward Tina Cornwell.
Good evening. I noticed there's 23 people up here on this quilt represented tonight. That's 23 people with a whole lot of love in this room. My name is Tina Cornwell, as Annalise said, and I'm here with you tonight celebrating and remembering a loved one. The theme of this year's Victims' Rights Week is Survivor Voices. Elevate, engage, and affect change. Honestly, I had not even heard of Victim Rights Awareness Week until this. Every time we speak of or share a memory of our loved one, this is exactly what we're doing. We have the choice to make of how we do that. It is really one of the only things in our control on this path that we have been given. Every day, countless crimes are committed against innocent people within our society. It is one thing to hear about it or to see it play out in the news, but it is a completely different and overwhelming experience when one of our loved ones becomes the actual victim of one of these crimes. These stories often seem so distant, and we tend to feel protected from them until we too become the living victims of these crimes as well, living and trying to survive in the aftermath. Our family's story in this journey began the night our oldest child's life ended because of a violent and senseless crime. Never did we think we would be standing or sitting in a room with others on a night like tonight who had lost a son, daughter, wife, husband, or other family member to a violent crime. Tonight, we are all here because we lost someone that we truly loved. When we suffer such a loss, it is a life-changing and numbing experience. Many emotions ensue, such as shock, anger, betrayal, even actual physical pain, as if a knife is stabbing into our very hearts. We cannot see how we will recover or how we will survive this ourselves. Not only do we experience the physical loss of our person, but we have additional layers of pain to deal with when a crime has been committed. We must often speak to detectives, the DA, attend court hearings and possibly trials, experience delays and many delays in those court proceedings. And everyone in this room can agree that that is frustrating, but it's part of the process. And we wait. We try to be patient. Some never even get that far and are still wondering what happened and why this happened to their loved one and to them. Either way, we get an unwelcome education very quickly. To survive this, our family began to seek help right away. I'm a believer in seeking help when I am lost. We began trauma counseling and learned to respect each other's grief over time. You see, each person has had their own relationship with the one we lost, and we must expect that my grief is different than your grief. There are many resources in a community such as Fresno County that can be helpful in times like these. These include one-to-one therapy, and I would recommend finding somebody that specializes in grief and trauma, peer support groups such as Compassionate Friends, and other groups at hospice programs, and also St. Agnes Hospital, which center on grief and healing for all, as well as Grief Share through local churches. If you have any questions where you can find those things, obviously the Victims Advocacy Program here can tell you, guide you, and also Google works. Each of these things have become a part of our family's life in one way or another. As a matter of fact, I have found some of my closest and most supportive friends in these places. Some of these friends are here tonight. I attribute it to the love that Nikki had for us. I now have the gift of love and friendship from others who have also suffered a loss, and they understand me. I would also like to say that without my relationship with God, I would not have survived this, as He is my strength and He has never let us down. He has been there for our family no matter what. As a person who has attended many court hearings over the last 2 years, I would like to also suggest that if you or anyone you know has the need of a courtroom representative, Fresno County has an amazing victims advocacy program. Anna Lee is our advocate, and I love that lady with all my heart. She has really been an amazing support, as I've heard others have experienced that. I will say that after our son's death, it took me a good 6 months to call. But when I did, it was well worth it. I would like to say thank you to the James Rowland Crime Victim Center for making an event like this possible, as this is one way that we can still participate in a relationship with our loved one. When suffering such a tragedy and confusing loss, it may seem that we will never see the light of day again. Yet there is hope for a better tomorrow. Yet it will be different than we planned, of course, and it will happen slowly with time. April 26, 2021, actually 2 years ago tomorrow, our oldest child, Nikilas, Nicky as we call him, became a victim of a violent crime, and he succumbed to that tragedy 22 hours later on April 27, 2021, with us at his bedside. Nicky was a big brother, an oldest child and son, a grandchild, a nephew, a cousin, and friend. He loved tattoos and dogs and Chevy trucks, specifically Tahoes. He loved welding and fixing up cars, Reese's peanut butter cups, and pineapple upside down cake. And those are just a few of the little things that made him who he was and how we miss him. 28 years was not enough. April 27, 2021. It changed our lives forever. However, his love has never left us. And that's why we're all here tonight. We're all here tonight because we have voices. We are the voices of the ones who have left us. We are the survivors now. And we truly can celebrate them because they have left with us a love that has never left. Thank you.
I want to thank all of our survivors tonight, and all of our families that are here. Again, how good to be here, and to those that love you, to do a little piece of what we can do to help support you during this difficult time. I ask everyone to stand up, lift your candle, and join me for a moment of silence as we honor and remember those whose lives have forever been impacted by violent crime. Moment of silence. Thank you. You could please keep your candle lit. You can either remain standing or sit down if you choose. The lights can remain off for a little bit longer, please, and then we'll have another song.
Walking down tired, living life on a merry-go-round, and you can't find a fighter, but I see it in your eyes. We can hold you down and move. And I'll rise up like the day, and I'll rise up unafraid, and I'll rise up and do it 1,000 times again, and I'll rise up. I like the waves. I'll rise up in spite of the ache, and I'll rise up and do it 1,000 times again. For silence isn't quiet, and it feels like it's getting hard to breathe. And I know you feel like dying, but I promise you we'll take the world back onto its feet, and we'll move. Mountains, bring it up, and we'll move. Mountains, and I'll rise up like today, and I'll rise up unafraid, and I'll rise up and do it 1,000 times again for you. All we need is hope. And for that we've got each other. For that we've got each other. And I'll rise up. I'll rise up. Yeah, I'll rise up.
that showed up tonight to attend the event to support our families and our community and let them know that they're not alone in the path to their healing, that there's people in our community that are here to support and walk along the path with you. So this concludes our event for tonight. Please walk around and look at our quilts, there's some refreshments in the back. And again, thank you all for coming and showing the love. I appreciate it.